Hello everybody, this is Justin here. So today in this episode, I'll be doing an in-depth analysis on this upcoming project called Sora. Alright, so Sora will be launching this 22nd of June, and our preview will be from 22nd of June all the way to the 2nd of July. Alright, so show flag will be ready on 22nd of June, but before that, let me go into this analysis to let you have a better understanding before you even go down to the show flag to see why Sora is a development that you can consider. And on top of that, I will be going in depth to analyze each individual layout so that you'll be able to have a better understanding in terms of the facing, in terms of the layout, as well as the price point, so that you'll be able to make an informed decision. Let's move on to the project itself, Sora. Now let's dive into a two-bedroom layout. So for two-bedroom in Sora, there are, like I mentioned earlier, two-bedroom, I do have, we call it a two-bed deluxe, which is the smallest unit. All right, I have 2 plus study. So there's 2-bedroom, 2 plus study. We will come in to actually understand all the different layout, what are the pros and cons. All right, so first of all, for 2-bedroom deluxe, meaning to say that these are 2 bed, 2 bath without any study. Okay, so for 2 bed, 2 bath without any study, in Sora total there are 60 units. So meaning probably around 13.64%, slightly less than 15% of the total units in Sora for a 2-bedroom. Facing wise, most of the units are actually facing the HDB side. So there are stack 6 and 7, which is what we've seen over here. And also 20 and 21. Alright, so all the smaller units are actually facing the HDB side. Like I mentioned, if let's say you're looking at price point, price sensitive, or investment point of view, it doesn't matter whether you are facing the lake or it doesn't matter whether you are facing HDB. Most important thing is what? Most important thing is your yield, your return is higher. Alright, so 2 different layout. Right now I'm going to actually go into the layout itself to help you have a better understanding. So the first type is type B1. Alright, type B1, size is 646 square feet. There's only 2 stacks. Alright, stack 6 and 7. So total there's only 24 units. Alright, so for this layout itself, for this type B1 layout, this is typically what we call a dumbbell layout. It comes with a master bedroom, a common room, and 2 baths. Why today developer they're actually building this dumbbell layout? Because a lot of buyers they do comment that the layout itself, they do not want any wasted space. This layout is a lot more efficient. Most of the space that you're talking about, the whole entire area itself, it is all usable. So you don't pay for any extra space, like for example corridor, or even bay window, or planter box, or etc. All right. So what unique about this layout is basically it is a very, very efficient layout. In terms of privacy, you can still have both master and your common having their own space without having any concern in terms of the privacy itself. There's 2 baths, so you have the option of having 2 attached baths if you want to. The cons of this particular layout is that, just to highlight a few, basically the bathroom, all right, for the common bath, it doesn't come with any natural ventilation, meaning to say it doesn't come with window. All right, whereas for your master bath, yes, it comes with your natural ventilation, which is a window. This is definitely one of a plus point. All right, other than that, basically this is, I think, one of the thing that to take note. For the common bath, it doesn't come with the natural ventilation, which is the window. All right, let's move on to the next unit type, which is type B2. All right, so for type B2 itself, so size-wise is slightly bigger. This is at 667 square feet. All right, there's only same thing. There's only 2 stacks, stack 20 and stack 21, facing HDB as well. And also total units, I only have 36 units. All right, so something different from what we've seen earlier in type B1 is that this is the conventional type of 2-bedroom layout, where you have a small corridor leading to your bedroom. Meaning to say, when your guests visit you, when they are sitting at the sofa area or even the living area over here, your bedroom, you will still have your own privacy. Meaning to say that basically, when you're having your activities over at the balcony or even at the living area, the master bedroom, you'll still be able to have a peaceful rest, peaceful night. All right, and the next thing about this layout itself, what I really like about this layout itself is that both the common bath and the master bath do come with natural ventilation. All right, so today, one of the concerns that some buyers do highlight is that they prefer to have natural ventilation, to prevent mold, or even we talk about the humidity inside the toilet itself. So this is definitely one of the advantage of this layout. All right, first thing first, of course, the privacy. Second thing, of course, both bathroom comes with natural ventilation. Other than that, basically in terms of the kitchen space, or even we talk about the living space, is pretty similar with the type B1 layout. All right, so for these two layout, B1 and B2 type, I would say that if, let's say, in terms of the budget-wise, you're slightly budget sensitive, or if, let's say, you are looking at investment point of view, I think these two layout you can actually consider, all right, for a 2-bedroom type. All right, next, let's move on to the next unit type, which is the 2+ study. So 2+ study, total I have 138 units, which is one of the highest number of unit type in Sora itself. All right, 31.36%, which is almost 30% of the total units in Sora itself. And for this layout type, there are two layouts of this 2+ study. The main difference, of course, as you can see over here, is the balcony area. All right, the main difference is the balcony area. Other than that, in terms of facing wise, later I'll go a little bit more in depth into the facing itself. All right, so for type B3, so 732 square feet total, there are 6 stacks: 2, 11, 17, 18, 23, 24. Total 100 units. And type B4, there's only 2 stacks, which is 26 and 15. All right. So other than the balcony space over here, in terms of the bedroom, in terms of the size, we are pretty much the same. So same thing, of course, over here is a 2+ study, so you will be able to have a master with a study, or if you do not need a study, you can actually have a huge master bedroom. Otherwise, your common bedroom with your common bath and your master bath. So both are able to allow you to have the ensuite, to create an ensuite for both bedroom type, because this is a dumbbell layout. All right, otherwise, in terms of living room space, it's exactly the same as what we've seen over here. Like I mentioned, main difference is only at the balcony. One is of a longish balcony. The other one is of the slightly squarish balcony. All right, so my point of view, if let's say, if I'm looking at a 2+ study layout, okay, if I'm looking at 2+ study layout, I will highly favor this B3 type. First thing first, because of the balcony space. Okay, so first thing we need to understand today in Sora, what is developer trying to, in terms of the project itself, what is the unique selling point of Sora? So for Sora, like we seen earlier, let's go back. For Sora itself, when you talk about Sora, what the developer wants to bring out is the Jurong Lake District, the unblocked view, the greenery, the water bodies, the 300-meter frontage. So for all the unit that is 2+ study and above, all the unit are actually fronting the whole entire Jurong Lake District. All right, so let's go back. If today I'm going to buy a lake-facing unit, layout will matters a lot. Why I say so is because layout will matters a lot, because all these units over here, we are having a full greenery or lake view. It depends on which level you're talking about. But imagine you're having a full lake or even a greenery view. Your main point of focus will be at your balcony. So imagine yourself standing at the balcony with a wide balcony frontage. You will be able to have a full entire view of the whole entire Jurong Lake District. Comparing to this layout itself, the view is slightly narrow in a sense, because of how the aircon latch taking up the space of your balcony. So meaning to say, if you are talking about a full entire lake view, usually we will prefer to have a wide frontage as compared to a narrow frontage in terms of your whole aesthetic feel and whole entire vision we're talking about. So if we are looking at 2+ study, this is the type B3 I would definitely highly favor. And also the next thing is the facing itself. So if we mention about type B4, as you can see, and there's only 2 stack, which is stack 26 and stack 15. So for stack 26 and stack 15, although we are having the lake view, however, the unit will, in terms of the view wise, most likely your master bedroom or even one of the common room, it will be blocked by these 2 units, okay, which is in purple. So what are these 2 units? These 2 stacks are my 4-bedroom and my 5-bedroom stack. Because of the layout itself, the whole entire stack is slightly wider, meaning to say this facing wise, you will actually be blocked by part of here, and this facing over here, your master bedroom will be blocked by part of here. So yes, probably you will get a part of the view itself, however, you will still see part of the building. So in a way, with the narrower kind of balcony and also the blockage of the stacks of the 4 and 5-bedroom, I would say that most likely this will be priced slightly lower as compared to your type B3. However, if budget is not a concern, and if you want something that is permanent, full unblocked view, I would definitely recommend type B3. Because end of the day, we need to understand, when you are buying a development, we need to play to the advantage of what the whole development unique selling point is. Today, when you are talking about Sora with the full entire lake view, if I want to impress my next buyer, the view must be a killer. That's why if let's say I'm going to get a lake view, I must ensure that next time around when my buyer comes in, when it comes to resale, when my buyer can see the actual product, when they walk into the house, the first emotion that they will get will be, wow. And this is enough, because end of the day, they will be impressed and emotion will start to kick in. All right, so in terms of the unit selection over here, because type B3, I do have six stacks. So later I will actually analyze, and in the summary of my 2-bedroom, I will share with you what are the recommended stacks that you can actually consider. All right, let's move on. Next thing, because if we understand about Sora, all right, so Sora, basically we are not the nearest to the MRT. In terms of public transport, we are probably around 3 to 4 bus stops to Lakeside MRT. If you really want to walk, if you cut across the Jurong Lake Garden, so basically you are talking about maybe a walking of probably around 15 minutes. However, if you talk about Sora itself, we are not selling, or rather developer is not banging on near MRT. We do have MRT that actually brings you to different parts of Singapore, and in fact for Sora we do have a shuttle bus that brings you to MRT. However, in Sora over here, we are not selling the location of a close proximity to MRT. So what I want to actually bring out this point to you is that I want to let you understand, is it near MRT equals to higher profit? Because when we talk about buying a property, the first thing that most buyer will come in, or the first question that most buyer will ask is, where is the MRT? Is it near to MRT, etc., etc. However, we need to understand, is it near MRT equals to higher profit? So over here, I want to bring out 2 different development. All right, one is called Alex Residence, the other one is called Principal Garden. All right, so in terms of close proximity to MRT, this is where the MRT is, Redhill MRT. All right, so for Alex Residence, it's literally just beside Redhill MRT, probably a 3 minutes walk, and in fact it's actually a mixed development. So you have the best of both worlds. You have your amenities just below you, and MRT is just 2-3 minutes walk away. Comparing to another development called Principal Garden, which is a good, if you really want to walk, a good 15 to 17 minutes walk to the MRT itself. All right, so if we are looking at location point of view, can I say that Alex Residence is a hands down, a win by everything because you have the best of everything. However, does it really mean that if I'm buying near MRT, my buyer will be willing to pay me a higher price because I'm so near to the MRT? All right, let's go deep into the numbers itself to have a better understanding. All right, so like I mentioned, Alex residence, 3 minutes walk to MRT, and today we are comparing to a 2-bedroom type. All right, because since we are talking about Sora 2-bedroom or 2+ study, so I use a 2-bedroom type to do a comparison. All right, so for Alex residence, like I mentioned, 2-bedroom type, 3 minutes walk to MRT, bought in 2013. All right, so this year, profit we're talking about 200, close to 250,000. Not too bad, right? Not too bad, because they bought during almost to launch day, and they are holding probably close to 10 years. They make, I would say, not too bad kind of profit, half a $250,000. All right. However, comparing to Principal Garden, which is slightly further away, not slightly, actually 17 minutes is like 5 times more. I don't have any, commercial shops below. I do not have any amenities below. But same thing, the buyer purchased during the launch date 2016. They sold similar date this year. And take a look at the profit. The buyer actually made, or rather the seller actually made more than twice of what Alex Residence seller made. Then we need to understand, really, is it because it's near MRT, the next buyer is willing to pay me more? So end of the day, we need to understand why this kind of data or this kind of numbers actually appear. So first thing first, of course, when when developer launch Alex Residence, their unique selling point is definitely we're talking about MRT. We're talking about the mall below and everything. So if you are buying Alex Residence, mainly you want the convenience and you want everything. So can I say that most of the time, those buyers that bought in Alex Residence, they are talking about probably investment point of view. Maybe you will attract a lot of investors, as usually if you talk about 1 or 2 bedroom, you will attract a lot of investor that's looking at you and you looking at convenience because tenants wants to stay near to the MRT. However, if you are talking about Principal Garden, not near to any MRT, all right. However, when Principal Garden launched, the unique selling point about Principal Garden is that 80% of their landscape, 80% of the whole entire land is built, or rather is done up with full landscape. Meaning to say only 20% of the land itself is being used to build building. The remaining 80% are actually built for landscape. Meaning to say, during resale, like for example, we're talking about this year, 2024, when the buyer actually came in, take a look at both Alex Residence and Principal Garden. Both buyer will have their own objective in mind. If I want to buy for own stay, would I want to buy into a development where, below I do have a lot of activities? Yes, I do near MRT. Is it necessary for me to have just MRT at my doorstep? Or I want to buy into a development for my own stay where I want a very quiet, serene kind of environment. I get to enjoy the facilities. I get to enjoy the greenery within the development itself. So which buyer are you targeting on? So for Principal Garden, basically they are targeting more on own stay owner, where MRT, yes, is important, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is every day after a long day of work, when I come home, I want to feel the space. I want to come home with serene. I want to be surrounded by all the greeneries, all the water features and everything. Or I want to come home with people still hustle and bustle at my lobby downstairs. That's why over here, if you've seen Principal Garden, they're able to attract the home buyers that can really, truly appreciate the space and the environment that Principal Garden is able to give to the buyer. That's why in terms of profit-wise, Principal Garden seller, they actually make twice as much profit as compared to Alex Residence, even though Alex Residence is so near to the MRT. All right. Next, we are talking about another development called seaside residence. So just now we talked about MRT. So when Alex Residence launched, their main unique selling point is what? Near MRT. So any unit within Alex Residence is near MRT. However, there are some development they have a very specific kind of unique selling point. Like this is one of the example, which is what I call seaside residence. So when you hear the name seaside residence, meaning to say that I am close to the sea. So today, if I want to buy a seaside residence, I want to play to the advantage of this entire development itself, then I need to get a unit that is fronting the sea. So in seaside residence, as you can see over here, this is seaside residence. So for units over here, there are two different unique view. First, of course, if you are fronting this direction, you are facing the Victoria School, you are facing the landed. All right. Whereas for this south facing, okay, you are fronting the ECP, you are facing the sea view itself. All right. So over here, like I mentioned, this direction will be your sea view. This direction will be your landed, or if not, the Victoria School view. Okay. So imagine this is the view that we're talking about. I'm comparing two different views, same thing, 2-bedroom type. One is the Victoria School view, which is over here. So it's on a high floor unit, you'll be able to get unblocked, school view, some landed view as well. Or comparing to this facing, which is over here, this facing, you are getting the unblocked sea view. So if a buyer that is looking at seaside residence, when they are considered seaside residence, what is the unique point of seaside residence? Sea view. So if imagine a buyer has two different unit type during launch day to compare or to choose whether do I want to face the landed view or I want to face the sea view, let's take a look at these two buyers that bought during launch day. What are the results today? Or what are the outcomes today? All right. So like I mentioned, date of purchase is exactly the same. 20th April 2017. Okay. The blue color one is the one which is sea view. This is a sea view unit. This is a landed unit. All right. In fact, the sea view unit buyer actually bought a lower floor at level 11, whereas the landed buyer bought a higher floor at level 18. So if you look at the purchase price, itself, in fact, the sea view buyer buying a lower floor at level 11, he is actually paying a higher per square foot, comparing to a higher floor owner, a landed view, paying a slightly lower price. So at the starting point, sea view buyer paying a higher price, get a lower floor, whereas a landed buyer paying a lower price, getting a higher floor. So if we cannot foresee the outcome, we do not have any crystal ball, can I say that by right, the sea view buyer is taking a higher risk? Because buying at the same day, lower floor unit, I'm paying a higher price. However, let's take a look at what is the transaction today. Selling almost similar timing, probably about 6 months apart. Okay, the sea view owner that bought back then in 2017 made a profit of 495,000, close to 500,000, whereas the landed owner, the landed buyer, only made about 280,000. Okay, profit, the sea view owner, lower floor, buying a higher price, made 215,000 more. So why is this happening? So remember what I mentioned earlier. We need to play to the advantage of our development. We need to understand what is our unique selling point of this particular development itself. So, like I mentioned earlier, when you talk about seaside residence, what is the unique selling point? Of course, when you talk about seaside residence, the first thing that comes to our mind is seaside, close to the sea, sea view. If you are buying a seaside, you are buying a sea, close to the sea, close to your activities, why do you want to face the landed? Of course, I'm not saying that facing the landed is wrong, but if we do not play to the advantage of the development itself, end of the day, when you come to our resale, or when you want to resell your unit, you may not be able to fetch a better price as compared to a buyer that play to the advantage of the development. Just like, for example, today if I'm buying a project that the unique selling point is close to a school, say for example, RGS or even Aitong or whichever school, I need to make sure that the unit that I'm buying is within 1 kilometer to the school. If I'm buying that development and the unique selling point of that development is close to a school, but my unit didn't fall within 1 kilometer to the school, then I did not play to the advantage of that development. At the end of the day, when it comes to resale, when the buyer has an option to choose whether are they buying this development because of the unique selling point, you will not be in an advantageous position to actually bring out the whole entire unique selling point of this development. Alright, so why am I actually trying to show you all this? Because at this present moment for Sora, our pricing have not been announced yet, meaning to say that I will not be able to tell you whether the full lake view is having what price, what is the price difference between the lake view and the non-lake view. However, I can actually use one of the project that is just beside Sora, which is Lake Garden Residence, to actually do a comparison in terms of how developer do their pricing strategy. Because Lake Garden Residence is actually having the same view that we're talking about. It's also fronting the Jurong Lake District, and in terms of the attributes wise, is pretty much similar to Sora. So if our developer in Sora is adopting the same pricing strategy, then I think this is something that we can really analyze and look into to determine whether should we get the lake facing unit or should we get the HDB facing unit. Say for example, I'm using both 2-bedroom, 2+ study and 2-bedroom. Alright, so the HDB facing similarly to Sora. Okay, their 2-bedroom unit, they are facing HDB. Alright, whereas their 2+ study, they are actually facing the lake. Alright, pretty much similar to what we are looking at in Sora. Of course, in terms of the size wise, slightly different, it doesn't matter. What matter, or what I want to bring across to you and what is important over here is take a look at their per square foot. Alright, so let's take a look at all this per square foot over here. First off, let's look at the low floor unit. I'm using a second floor unit to do a comparison. So for a second floor unit, HDB facing, the 2-bedroom pricing at 1928 PSF, whereas a lake facing unit is at 2018. So in terms of their price difference, we are talking about a lake facing and a non-lake facing. For a low floor unit, we are talking about price difference of about 4.67%. Okay, when we go slightly higher at mid-floor unit level 10, per square foot for a non-lake facing, we are talking about 2094. Whereas a lake facing unit, the price is 2170. And if you can see it over here, the price difference actually narrow down to 3.63%. And if we go even higher floor, which a lake facing unit will give you the full unblocked Jurong Lake District or the lake view or the greenery view. Alright, if you look at this, the lake facing and the non-lake facing unit, the price difference actually narrowed to 0.35%. So what does this mean? Meaning to say, if Sora developer decide to adopt this pricing strategy similar to what Lake Garden developer has actually priced it for their unit itself, if we are looking at, in terms of price point, if we are looking at lake facing and non-lake facing, for a high floor unit, you are getting almost a similar per square foot comparing to lake and non-lake. Then I feel, my opinion is go for the highest floor unit. Why I say so? Because when you are getting a high floor unit, the highest floor unit, you are getting a full unblocked lake view comparing to a non-lake facing, which is the HDB view, you are paying almost a similar price per square foot point. Then it makes sense for you to go for a lake facing unit. Alright, however, if let's say you are talking about lower floor unit, of course, if you ask me, I wouldn't say that it's not worth it, but in terms of the price point, there is quite a price gap between the lake facing and the non-lake facing. And if you are talking about second floor, basically frankly speaking, we can't see the lake as well. Basically, it's only the trees and everything. So it's whether do you need do you want to actually pay the price premium for a lake facing unit, or rather 4.67%, slightly higher, but at the end of the day, you cannot see the lake. All right. So in this case, if investment point of view, I would rather go for the HDB facing, which in terms of price per square foot, it makes a lot more sense. All right. So to summarize what I've actually gone through for the 2-bedroom analysis, recommended choice unit. So for 2-bedroom, remember there's 2-bedroom and 2+ study. So for 2-bedroom, my opinion, my recommendation is first choice will be Stack 2021. All right, because price point in terms of if you are price sensitive, you don't want to stretch your dollars, but you need a full 2-bedroom with 2 bathroom, then I think you can actually consider Stack 2021. Reason being, both bathroom comes with window. All right, of course, the second choice will definitely be 6 and 7 because in total there's only 4 stacks. However, for 2+ study, my own opinion is first choice I will go for Stack 17, 18, 23, 24. Why is that so? Because it's full unblocked lake view. Meaning to say, in front of me, I do not have any other buildings that is actually obstructing me, whether is it my master bedroom, or my common bedroom. These 4 stacks do not have anything that is obstructing my view. Of course, the second option will be Stack 2 and 11. It will be limited lake view, meaning to say that part of my master or even part of my common room will see a little bit of the building, but still, I will still get the lake view itself if my level is high enough. Of course, last of all, price points, if let's say you need a 2+ study, but in terms of your sensitivity, in terms of the price wise, then you can actually look at 15 and 16. Of course, in terms of the blockage of your lake view, it will be slightly blocked because of fronting the 4 and 5 bedroom just in front of you. Okay, so this is basically my analysis for the 2-bedroom. All right, so this is basically what I have for you today. Of course, if you think that you have some other things that you want to actually, you want me to compare, or you want me to actually do the analysis for you, just feel free to drop me a text in my YouTube. Then moving forward, I will do more of such analysis for different projects, so that end of the day, I hope that this can be something useful to you. All right, my name is Justin, and I see you next time. Bye-bye.